Hey guys, welcome and congratulations on finishing your first speech. Uploaded it to YouTube, put the link on the outline, and submitted it to me. I've started grading them and I've been putting comments on the bottom of all of them. Please look at those comments. Remember, everyone gets a full 75 points out of 75 for this speech. I wanted you to get used to uploading a speech to YouTube, posting it on the site, uploading your outline, which is a lot and it can take time. Some of you notice that it takes some time to process your videos, so don't wait till the last minute. I would also encourage you to wait to see what my comments are before uploading your current event speech. Go ahead and write it, go ahead and practice it, but once you see what I'm asking you to work on, then you can go ahead and upload it and be ready to go. Be careful of time limits and be careful of due dates. All your speeches are due at 6 p.m. If you have any problems, or any questions about that, go to written assignments in that section on the left-hand side and click on the whole assignment. I think some people might just be reading like the excerpt, which has all the information in it, but if you actually click on it, then it opens it all up and it tells you the due date with the time. So be sure to do that. This week we're discussing audience analysis and word choice and language. But before we go into that just a little bit, I have a few general notes for you. 1, look at lecture notes. I always post things up on lecture notes, so be careful to do that. And also open up the whole form. Just don't read the little excerpt and think that's it, because you may be missing something. So make sure that you open it up. All the written assignments have the due dates on them. So open them up so that you can see that due date. And then I want you to start thinking about your language and your citing. Remember, your current event speech is due this week as well, so make sure that you watch out for that. And I'm posting your grades with comments, and I should be completely finished with that by tomorrow, which is Wednesday. So make sure that you are looking at that before you actually post your current event up, so that you can see what I've asked you to work on. Now, for your current event, for your camera angle shot, if you look up when I'm setting up nice and tall, you can see that there's an apple between my head and the top of the screen. Or from where my view is, there is. So make sure that you have that. You also don't want to have them sitting down. You want to be standing up for these. Your current event, you don't have to have an audience for, but your informative and your persuasion, you do. So go ahead and start thinking about that. So let's talk about language and audience analysis. For this purposes of this class, we don't know each other very well. We don't know one another. We don't know what each other enjoys doing, how we may be offended, how we're not offended. So when you're looking at your speech and developing it, think of it that way. What would keep my audience interested in the long term? How can I keep them involved? Because as humans, and it's human nature, we tune out. Even with this short video, at some point you may tune out. And it takes a lot of practice and a lot of development to be able to listen to someone for a long period of time without doing that. So as you're developing your speech, what kind of language could you use? And when I say language, I don't mean like bad words, like, what we classify as bad words or potty words or however that you say them. I mean, how can you make your speech so that the whole audience wants to hear it, so that we're interested in what is being said and we don't want to tune out? For your transition sentences, think about using quotes. Think about using song lyrics. Think about using statistics that's really going to grab our attention and move us forward. If you're giving a speech for, let's say, a political party, for the Republicans or for the Democrats, you know what direction, and you know what's going to get them fired up. But what's going to get your audience today fired up, right? How are they going to be following in with you and be with you 100% of the time? In communication, we have this great thing called the communication model. And you can look this up and it'll tell you what it is. But a long time ago, social scientists just thought communication was, I'm the sender, you're the receiver, I send you a message, and then it stops there. Well, as time grew, social scientists discovered that that's not what communication is about. communication is not just the sender, the receiver, the message stops, but that it's about two people communicating. So essentially they got rid of the sender, the receiver, then the receiver becomes the sender, and all of that. They just said communicator A and communicator B. So we have communicator A who sends a message to communicator B. Communicator B takes that information and then sends another one to communicator A, which makes our communication transactional, meaning that it goes in a circle. So that's all great and good, right? So we know that we say this, I say a message, it gets to you, there's no miscommunication, there's no problems at all. Well, what happens, what breaks up this communication cycle is noise. And we have internal and external noise. Internal is that I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, I don't feel well, is this class ever going to get over? I've got a million things to do. All of that that's inside of you that you're thinking about, that takes you away from the focus of what the communicator is saying. And then there's external. Like maybe there's a fan in the room that's humming and that you can't get away from that. Or maybe there's a fight outside and you're like me and you want to know what's going on, right? So there's an external noise as well. We as public speakers need to know how to combat that. How can we develop our speech and make it to where people want to listen? Especially important when we get to persuasion, because you want to persuade us, so you need to think about the language that you choose. How is that going to get us to go involved and want to listen to you even more? So as we go through our speech course, I really want you to think about what can you do to make sure the audience is with you, that audience analysis. Right? Read that link, read the article, and then to do the written assignment. We're also next week going to be looking at public speakers. So I'm going to give you a chance to watch videos of other public speakers. See what they do. How do they interact with the audience? How do they become more natural, right? So you're going to look at that. All right, friends, you have your current event that is due. Start thinking about your topics for your informative and your persuasion, and I'll get information posted on that. Audience analysis, so important. Who is your audience? How old are your audience members? What can you say? Language, think about that. If you're doing a highly technical speech, then think about that language. Are you going to use a term that maybe you know really well and we don't know really well? Right? I'm a big person into theater, so there's certain terms that if I give a speech about theater that I may not use with the audience because I don't know their history with theater. I know one student who knows technical theater, but I don't know anybody else that does. So if I choose to use a word that I use and that other people in my field would know, but maybe someone else wouldn't, I'm going to make sure that I explain that. So think about that as you give your speeches. Hey, as always, email me with any questions. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.